In today's video, I wanted to do a 2025 goal setting workshop, but not just any old goal setting exercise. This will be a condensed framework built on over 10 grand worth of personal development processes, which I've condensed in a simple but powerful 3-step process that will help you rewire your mind, align with your purpose, and turn your vision into reality. So if you've ever struggled with making your dreams more tangible or feel stuck turning ideas into action, this method is for you. And by the end of this video, you'll have a very clear actionable roadmap that you can use to manifest your best year yet. By the way, if you guys are new here, my name's Brandon. Since 2016, I've been coaching individuals and companies, including Fortune 500, to help them realign with their purpose and their core essence to create massive impact in their lives and in their business. So without any further ado, let's dive in. So we have basically 3 major steps, which I've condensed down. And if you're watching this for the first time, you can just observe first and then maybe go through it again and break out a pen and paper, because I'm going to go through it pretty rapidly. Although I've made it simple, it's still very rich and dense. So you'll want to follow along and write everything out as I'm going through it. But essentially, we're taking different components here and combining them together to really make a bulletproof plan and something that you can actually look back on and have more than just like a one-dimensional approach to taking your 2025 to another level. So we start off with your areas of life, and there's a lot of different iterations of this, but I basically have the core 7 here, which is your body, your emotions, your relationships, your time, your work, your finances, and your spirituality. And so the first step, if you have your pen and paper out, is going to be that if you write this out, and you don't have to do a pyramid or anything like that, it was hard enough for me to draw because I am not a visual artist, is you can just write down all 7, and next to each one of these categories, you just want to put a number of where you feel you are currently at today on a scale of 1 to 10. Once you get a number on each one of these categories, for example, like on your body, if you're a 1, the next question you ask is, well, where do I want this number to be in 2025 or at the end of 2025? And this doesn't all have to be 10s, by the way. You want to, again, focus on what feels good to you and what feels like it would be a win and a great sense of progress. So it could be an 8, it could be a 7, it could be a 6, right? Depending on where you're starting to be where you want to be. So in this example, to go from extremes, if you were at a 1 and you wanted to get to a 10 in your body, that's the first thing you would want to clarify. And then you would go up and you do the same thing with emotions, relationships, time, work, finance, and spirituality. So once you define where you're at and where you want to be with each category, you can move on to step 2. You see, we're already on to step 2. But this step is probably the most rich and deep step, where we don't want to go directly. Once you know where you are and where you want to be, and you've seen the gap, you don't just want to go directly to doing something. You want to get into the deeper resources of your spirit, of your subconscious. You want to bring all the parts of you online and be firing on all cylinders. So I've created what's called the V.I.P process. And essentially what it is just you're moving from each category from where you want to be. And you're taking that and you're saying, okay, if I want to be a 10 in my body, what's the vision, identity, and purpose that is associated with this number that I want to be at with the associated category? So for example, in the body, if I want to be a 10, the vision would be, I'm waking up every day with energy. I'm moving throughout my day, burning like coal and vigor and just vibrancy. And I'm able to move from task to task without bogging down and still having a reserve at the end of the day. After you get that general vision, and you can use different exercises, there's plenty on YouTube to get you into that future vision for each category. Make sure you write that down and then move into what is my associated identity with this vision. So for example, if you are in your physical category and you have that vision down, what is the associated identity, right? The identity is simply an I am statement. So it could be, I am an athlete. That could be a different identity than you had before. And this is a huge evidence-based thing that you want to do in terms of actually following through on what we're going to get to next, which is creating the map. Because when you are that person, when you are the athlete, you do what athletes do. You don't just try to be an athlete, but you are an athlete. Therefore, athletes run, they work out, they eat a specific way, they prioritize their recovery, right? All these things. From this, it'll pop out better dailies and weeklies and goals than it would if you were to not recreate your identity with the associated categories. So you have your vision. The second thing you want to do, which is the I in V.I.P, is associate the identity to that vision. So, okay, I'm an athlete. And then once you've done that, you want to move into purpose. And you've heard probably a combination of this, but purpose is a huge motivator. It's kind of the why, and it's what's going to drive you when things are getting inconvenient, right? When things are tough, when you're not always in an upward trajectory or feeling motivated. And there's a lot of ways you can move in purpose. It doesn't always have to be this grand thing. Your purpose could be, well, if I'm an athlete and I'm improving my body, well, then there's going to be so much more energy that I'm able to give every other category in my life, my work, my relationships, right? My spirituality, my emotions will be better. Right. So you're finding all the reasons why this is important. You could also utilize, the energy of proving the naysayers wrong, even yourself, me, the fact that I doubted myself, I want to prove that contrary. I want to prove the people who thought this wouldn't happen wrong, right? In a good way. So look at all the different reasons why. And you could go even 7 layers deep on the why. You could say, okay, well, why is that important to you? And then you come up with a different purpose. Well, why is that important to you? And just see how far you can take it, at least 7 layers deep on your purpose. And that's when you're in your actual aspects of you that are going to be able to carry the energy into the daily tasks once you complete this rich step. So after you do step 2, make sure that as you're doing this, realize the visions that come to you, the purpose that comes to you, and the identity that come to you, trust them, right? Like in Mark 11:24, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it. That's the key to the second step, is believing that these things that have come to you are on good accord. Like these things that have come to you are your reality that have been seeking you out, which is desire, meaning of the Father. So once you're done with step 2, step 3 is the map. And this is, the common thing that people do. It's more the goal setting aspect. And with the map, you essentially take all of this and you filter it. So if you think about this being your yearly goal, right, for each category. And by the way, if this is a lot, you can just do, 1 to 3 categories. One that you want to focus on maybe, but you take that as your yearly goal. Okay, I want my physical body to be at a 10. That's my yearly goal, right? I have my vision, identity, and purpose. Now you want to start going into the map. So the first thing you want to do with the map is you want to write down your milestones. These are think of them as like big outcomes where you know that you're on the path to being at a 10 in your body in this example. So the first milestone could be, when I lose 10 pounds, and you could do them every quarter maybe, right? And then the second quarter would be, I'm down 20 pounds, and then, onwards and onwards. And you can set up probably around 4 milestones where, once you hit each one of those milestones, you're on the right trajectory for your yearly goal to be at a 10 in the physical quadrant. After you do your milestones, the second thing you want to do in the map is you want to write the 1 to 3 key goals, and think of these as like, high momentum, the one thing that will create everything else type of goals. And I like to use the head pin example. Like when you're bowling, what's the head pin that if I were to hit that pin, it knocks down all the other pins? So what are the 1 to 3 key goals in the next 90 days that will lead me to hit my milestones? So in my first milestone, Q1, what are the 1 to 3 key goals that I can hit to know that I'm on track for the milestone? So in this example, if I, lose 5 pounds in the first month and a half, I know I'm on target to hit my milestone by the 3rd month and onwards and onwards. So after that, the third step of the map is that you want to break this down into daily and weekly tasks, right? And really, there's a couple frameworks you can use for this. I'm sure you've heard of SMART goals. If you haven't, look it up. You can get like a book, and it's a calendar where you can actually distill everything down into daily tasks. That's one way you can do it. You can also use the 12-week year. That's one that I've used that is really fun. It gives you basically a daily checklist that you want to make and then have weekly goals as well. So as you can see, this kind of chunks down from milestones to key goals to weekly and dailies. And what you start to see is that each thing that you do per day leads to each thing that you achieve per week, which leads to each key goal, which leads to each milestone, which leads to the 10 in this example that you're trying to experience in your body. So do the daily and weeklies, use either SMART goals or maybe the 12-week year to set that up, and you're totally set there. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to be doing more videos like this where I take stuff that is like highly complex and I condense it down and give it to you in 10 minutes or less if I can. And so I hope this is helpful for you. If you want some like guided audios or resources, please let me know and I'll be happy to put those down in the description. But until then, I really hope this serves you guys. Have an amazing New Year's and an amazing 2025.